Pokopia has finally broken the curse and delivered a critically acclaimed Pokemon game. What you're looking at right now are 100-point reviews from top gaming outlets, with a cumulative total of 88 on Metacritic, which by the way is a great score. For reference, Scarlet and Violet scored around 72, Legends Arceus scored 83, and the last game to get anywhere close to Pokopia was Sun and Moon with 87. The game is also just being highly praised right now, so as a bit of a Game Freak historian, I thought I'd give some insight into the rise of Pokopia and why it's getting these very strong reviews. First, let's address the big elephant in the room, Omega Force. No, that's not a Power Rangers team. This is the co-development company Game Freak teamed up with to produce Pokopia, and it was actually handpicked by Omori himself through TPC to work on the game. Omega Force is a division of Koei Tecmo, best known for creating the Dynasty Warriors games, which I hate immensely. I really dislike Dynasty Warriors games, but clearly they're successful and people love them, so whatever. They've also worked on the Hyrule Warriors games, Pirate Warriors, and even Persona 5 Strikers, which surprised me. But the game that really caught Omori's attention was Dragon Quest Builders 2, which was made by Omega Force. In collaboration with a juggernaut that is Square Enix, Omega Force made a very good game with DQB2, and you can really tell the core gameplay framework greatly inspired Pokopia. In fact, I remember many people's first impressions of Pokopia being, this is just Dragon Quest Builders but Pokemon. And honestly, at first I really wasn't excited for the game. I'm not exactly a cozy game fan, so I'm not into the Animal Crossings or Minecrafts or even Dragon Quest Builders. So I kind of brushed the game off because it just didn't seem like it was for me. And if I had known the makers of Dynasty Warriors were behind it, I probably would have hated it. I should mention that I've only played a couple of Pokemon spin-offs like Mystery Dungeon, Colosseum, and the TCG game, which were all made a very long time ago. So I didn't know what to expect from a modern Pokemon spin-off. It wasn't until a few days ago when all the reviews started coming in about how great the game really is, and how different and special it is, that I thought, hey, maybe I misjudged the kind of game this would be. And I was right. I did misjudge it, because it's fantastic. Getting back on track, so having a company like Omega Force involved was always a green flag because of our experience. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if this was basically an Ilka situation, where Omega Force essentially developed the whole game while Game Freak oversaw the project. Some of you might be familiar with a Pokopia prototype that resurfaced in recent months, dating all the way back to 2019. And yes, that was actually an early prototype of Pokopia under the codename Oasis. However, Oasis pretty much ended up being scrapped and replaced with Mega Oasis, which was the codename for Pokopia. I'm sure a lot of the core concepts and ideas from Oasis were carried over into Mega Oasis, since based off the naming, it seemed more like an evolution of a project rather than something completely new. Many of you might not even know this, but there were plans for an Animal Crossing inspired Ditto Village game all the way back in the X and Y days, meaning Game Freak had this idea in the vault for at least 15 years or so. So a big thing with Oasis/Pokopia is that they really took their time with this concept. Mega Oasis alone rivals the development time of a mainline Pokemon game, and that's not even counting all of the pre-production and fundamental drafts from Oasis on top of that. And with the powerhouse that is Omega Force helping drive the project, it's no wonder the game ended up being so good. DQ Builders 2 released roughly 2 years after the first, meaning not only did Omega Force gain experience from making a very similar game relatively fast, but they also essentially had more time to work on Pokopia. On top of that, they've spent years spamming wildly successful Dynasty Warriors games, so they have a lot of experience under their belt. I also doubt there was much pressure to release the game around this time frame, since they easily could have pushed this towards a summer or even holiday release, meaning the game was probably as complete and as polished as it could be. Regarding the game itself, it's definitely my favorite cozy genre game yet, and realistically the only one I really like. Maybe it's Pokemon bias, but I honestly enjoy the core gameplay behind it. I won't spoil anything, but it's no surprise that there are lots of fun callbacks and references in this game for Pokemon fans. After all, it does feel like a celebration of the series. But even if you've never played Pokemon, you could probably jump into this and still have a great time. Across most of the reviews, there are a few common things that keep coming up that separate it from other cozy games. First is the sense of discovery. Pokopia seems to reward curiosity, whether exploring a new biome, learning a new move, or building something with your Pokemon. There always seems to be something new waiting around the corner. Second is how naturally Pokemon fit into the gameplay systems. Sure, it's a departure from battling, but it's really cool how their personalities are highlighted instead of them just being creatures. You're getting to know Pokemon on a more personal level, meeting them in their natural habitats, and I mean they talk, and it feels more like a proper representation of Pokemon's personalities than something like a mystery dungeon would showcase, which is much more story-driven and focused on building a specific narrative. If you could actually communicate with Pokemon in the mainline games, they'd probably act a lot like how they do here, and I think that's really cool. The presentation in general is just incredible, and particularly one of my highlights is the sound design. It's so clear that they put immense thoughts into the sounds of a game, and making that a huge part of it all. I also like that it feels like an original experience. It's clear they took their time to make sure the game had its own identity, instead of just being an Animal Crossing copy. And it really paid off. The visuals are absolutely beautiful and very unique too. Since everything is hand-built and everyone shares the same world, it means all the details were intentional. Every part of a map feels meticulously crafted. It seems to hold up really well as about a 20-hour experience if you just play for the story, and you can easily times that by 5 if you want to go for completion. There's just a lot to see and do, and so much to collect. Really, I just love how creative it is. I feel like this is what Nintendo was supposed to be all about. You can rant all day about the corporate side of Nintendo, but at the end of the day their core philosophy has usually been about publishing high quality and creative gaming experiences. And it seems that Pokemon slipped behind that standard for a few years, but now they're finally picking themselves back up. All we need now is just for Gen 10 to deliver on the gameplay side, and we'll be good. Though again, like I said before, I haven't had much gameplay issues with recent mainline Pokemon, so I'm not too worried about that. But let's be real here. Pokopia is $70. They're gonna make so much money from this. I hope this is at least like a Pixar situation where they're making certain movies to fund other movies, and maybe this could internally justify Gen 10 having a bigger budget, since apparently that's somehow an issue. It would also be great if Pokemon started handing the IP off to other studios, so we get more spin-off games. I would definitely appreciate more of that, seeing more creative directions for the franchise under different developers, since arguably they have made some of their best work under different directions. I also want to quickly mention how cool it is that you can game share with people on Switch 1. That's honestly one of the best consumer decisions Nintendo has made in like a decade. So seriously, good stuff Nintendo. Bottom line, if you like Pokemon, you'll love this. If you don't like Pokemon, you'll probably still enjoy it. It's just a chill game with a lot of character and passion put into it. Just remember to immerse yourself in it and have fun. And yeah, the sun is out, and the future of Pokemon is looking bright now. Pokopia gets a thumbs up from me. Please keep this up, Pokemon. Please. I'm looking forward to seeing more of Gen 10, and please, let it cook as much as it needs to. Anyways, that's all I wanted to say. I'm supposed to be working on my upcoming Sword and Shield video, where I go into every development build that's available, which should be out in about a week. So if you want to watch that, definitely subscribe so you don't miss it. And in the meantime, watch some of my other videos up on screen right now. Let me know your thoughts on Pokopia in the comments, leave a like if you enjoyed this discussion, and I'll see you in the next one.